Good morning. We are today at the residence of the Embassy of Finland. I have the great honor and pleasure hosting the ambassador Anne Meiskanen. Wait for me. Good morning, dear ambassador.
Comment ça va? Tu vas bien?
Oui, et vous?
Oui. Merci d'être venu.
Merci.
Comment ça va?
Ça va. Et
Ça
vous?
va?
Women from ضيف Aziz, I, Joel Aziz, have the great honor and pleasure hosting the ambassador of Finland, Her Excellency Mrs. Anne Meiskanen, in the platforms of Tele Liban. Women
Sabah al-Khair, Joel.
Sabah al-Noor, Excellency.
And let me say that no excellencies with me, because in Finland ambassadors are just normal civil servants. We are not VIPs. So no excellencies with me.
You prefer that I say dear ambassador?
Absolutely.
Dear ambassador, you are most welcome today in Tele Liban platform with Joel Aziz, ضيف Aziz. When we say Finland, I totally agree that it's a very beautiful country on the northern part. It's very cold, I believe. I don't know if it's sunny during the summer seasons. Where is Finland, geographically speaking, on the map? First, what are the surrounding countries, bordering countries, and what's the capital?
Finland is, of course, located in the north, in the northern part of Europe, and we have a long border with Russia, more than 1,300 kilometers. And then on the west, we are neighboring with Sweden. And I have to say that in summertime, Finland and especially Helsinki can be very nice, very warm.
Helsinki, the capital.
Helsinki, the capital.
Yes.
Helsinki, the capital, is at the seaside. It's a very nice, white, clean city. Of course, in the wintertime, it can easily be minus 25, but that gives us possibility to enjoy winter sports.
When we say minus 25, I believe it's very cold, it's freezing, and how can they live under such circumstances of weather?
We are used for that. And of course, we know how to dress up. Of course, the houses are warm, they are very well insulated. So all the conditions are there, and when it's minus 25, life goes as usual.
What are the main, in brief and short description, the main touristic spots in Finland?
I mean, of course, Helsinki as a capital, of course, Helsinki has a lot of cultural places, very interesting museums. But of course, for many tourists, Lapland is a place where they want to go and see, especially the Northern Lights.
Dearest Ambassador, Finland is a very beautiful country, and it has a very important and major role here in Lebanon. When we say the Finland or the battalion or the Finnish battalion, women keep peacekeepers. Tell us more about their presence here in Lebanon, and how are they bringing a lot of great endeavors to Lebanon.
I would like to say that Lebanon's stability has been Finland's long-term interest, and that is very well shown because our UNIFIL participation dates already from 40 years. And at the moment we have more than 200 both female and male peacekeepers who serve in UNIFIL. And of course, we have to remember that UNIFIL is a very important operation.
Yes.
It is one of the biggest UN operations in the world, and also at the moment, our biggest contribution to peacekeeping. For us, peacekeeping has always been one of our main priorities when it comes to the Finnish foreign policy, because we fully believe in values like multilateralism, peace, and democracy.
This is amazing. And when we say peace and democracy, this is the main mission of the FinBat all over the world.
I mean, as I said, it is our biggest contribution to UN operations at the moment.
It's amazing.
And let me also say that when you were asking about women peacekeepers, I'm very happy to say that the first ever female peacekeepers were deployed here in Lebanon, here in Lebanon, exactly 31 years ago. And as I said, nowadays more or less 15 female peacekeepers are here in Lebanon. And I kind of consider that, first of all, it is important to increase the number of female peacekeepers in all operations. But at the same time, I would like to see more women in leadership positions.
Yes.
And of course, it is, we all know that it is completely impossible to achieve sustainable peace without women.
Exactly.
And women are also needed to kind of ensure the effectiveness of the peacekeeping operations.
Amazing. And let us agree on the fact that women or female peacekeepers are significant here in Lebanon. How can women or Finnish women do this balancing between home and career? It's not easy to leave their homeland and come to Lebanon to serve.
Yeah, this is of course true, and I mean we can also see that when we speak about crisis management, there are less than 10% are women. So of course that already shows that it is quite challenging to combine, to take part in peacekeeping operations. But I have to say that especially when it comes to UNIFIL, both female and male peacekeepers are quite young. So
Yes.
That makes easier for them to leave the home country for example, 8 months.
So
And
tranche d'âge is young,
yeah,
a young
of
generation.
course, I mean, I'm very glad that in Finland we have been able to sort of have flexible solutions, especially for those women who are in peacekeeping operations.
And for how long is their mandate here in Lebanon? Usually for 6 months or 1 year? Any specific date,
more or less
dear
when it comes to
Ambassador?
Finns, it's 8 months.
Okay.
For the senior officers, it can even be 1 year. I kind of consider that 1 year is a time because you need to know the operations, and if it's
Definitely.
less than 1 year, it's a little bit difficult to get to know all the operations.
And I have a question. Once, dear Ambassador, once they serve here in Lebanon, they go back to their country. Do they come back to the same country in order to serve in higher or highest ranks, or they will be appointed in other countries?
I mean, of course, it depends of them, but I have to say that I have noticed there are many peacekeepers, I mean officers, who have been here, for example, 4 or 5 times.
Amazing.
So definitely there is a huge interest vis-a-vis UNIFIL as an operation, as I kind of said, since the operations since the operation in Afghanistan was closed, so there are less and less a kind of big peacekeeping operations at the moment, and also when it comes to all the difficulties that UN has in Africa.
This is amazing. My best regards to them and the great endeavors and efforts for them from this platform, dear Ambassador. Stretching back to history, when was the Embassy of Finland established here in Lebanon? What can you tell us?
Yeah, thank you, Joel. So let me say that the diplomatic relations between Lebanon and Finland were established in 1954, so that means that next year we have our 70th anniversary, and very much looking towards that. But when it comes to embassy, so the embassy was established in '68, and at that
Long time
ago, and of course at that time the priority were the trade relations. So trade between Finland and Lebanon was booming, and Finland was also investing in Lebanese infrastructure. And of course at that time Lebanon was known as Paris of the Middle East, so there was quite a lot of tourists. But then civil war broke, and the ambassador left the country 75, but came back briefly at 76. And unfortunately then situation got worse, and the whole embassy was evacuated in 84. But we came back.
When we say evacuated, sorry for interruption, no activities, you mean not anymore? Or?
There were activities because, I mean, first of all, during all those years, I mean, we were part of UNIFIL operation. So we had one consul who was here in Beirut during all those civil war years. But it means that there were no political activities. It was mainly related to consular services. And of course, she was also looking a little bit after the well-being of our boys in UNIFIL.
Yes.
But let me also continue that the embassy was re-established in 2015, and of course the main reason for that was that the Syrian conflict broke out in 2011,
yes.
and then we had to close our embassy in Damascus. So since 2015, we are here in Beirut, and when I compare what we are doing now, it's very different than in 1960s. As I said, those years priorities were trade, tourism, and now we concentrate much more on crisis management, political issues,
amazing.
Development cooperation, and of course also humanitarian aid.
Let us focus, dear Ambassador, on the current activities of the Embassy of Finland today in Lebanon. When you say women empowerment, sustainability, crisis management, what are you doing in your capacity as ambassador and your personnel, your staff at the embassy, in order to manage those current crises or empower women in any activities, start your own business? Tell us more, please.
Yeah, very interesting question indeed. We already spoke about crisis management. We already spoke about our participation in UNIFIL. But of course, this crisis, I mean, these multiple crises that Lebanon is going through has put us in the position that we want to help Lebanese people. And when it comes to Finland, I mean, we do it very concretely. And of course, we focus to those ones who are the most vulnerable, the poorest segments of the population,
Definitely.
Those ones who are the most oppressed.
Definitely.
And we are providing, of course, concrete assistance, mainly through UN organizations, UN agencies. And by that I mean UNICEF and UNHCR. With UNICEF, we are, of course, focusing children at public schools. And of course, when it comes to our help through UNHCR, so of course we provide assistance to Lebanese hosting communities. I mean, of course, we of course also help Syrian
for the refugees
as such.
Yes.
But then also it is becoming more and more important that we provide help for Lebanese hosting communities.
So the communities and the civil society are getting this assistance from the Embassy of Finland to Lebanon.
Let me kind of underline that we mainly work through UN agencies.
Yes.
As I mentioned, UNHCR, UNDP,
UNICEF.
UNICEF, of course.
Okay.
And
so
of
under
course,
the umbrella, we can say that you are collaborating under the umbrella of UN agencies?
Under the umbrella of UN, under the umbrella of UN agencies. When it comes to gender issues, when it comes to women, of course, it is very important for
activities.
Us.
Exactly.
It has always been, when it comes to Finnish foreign policy and our development aid, the focus is on girls and women. And here in Lebanon, I'm very happy to say that we are extremely active, and with UN Women, we are focusing on women's political participation, women's economic empowerment, and also we have a peace building project in the south.
Wow.
Aim being that women are mediating conflicts in very, very, very grassroots level. And the aim, one of the aims of that project, of course, together with UN Women, is that next autumn we are able to establish Women Peace Mediation Network here in
really good
Lebanon.
To know.
And of course, I'm extremely proud of that. You were referring to NGOs, and definitely we also work with NGOs. We have a tool, meaning the embassy has a tool called Local Development Funds, and we are working with NGOs in the field of, now we focus much more on minorities and also helping Palestinians. And then there is one very interesting program related to dealing with the past.
So let us understand that there is a fundraising in collaboration with NGOs in order to help those most vulnerable.
I mean, not really. I mean, fundraising. The resources, financial resources, are coming from Helsinki.
Okay.
And then there is an application process, and every second year we had a call, and then we select, of course, that depends our priorities, which of course always more or less remain the same, women, minorities, etc., etc., and we start a 2-year project in different fields. And as I said, now the focus is on minorities, especially sexual minorities, Palestinians, and then this very famous project related dealing with the past, transitional justice.
This is amazing to know, dear Ambassador, about all the activities that are being held by the embassy. Do you arrange any field visit in order to see what are the most vulnerable communities or the weakness areas in Lebanon? How do it comes to you to know that those communities or the civil society or this area need to be restructured, or why do you choose to be in such fields?
I mean, of course, as I was saying, I mean, the whole idea of our development cooperation here in Lebanon is to help those who are poorest, who are the most oppressed and the most vulnerable. And that's why we don't only run projects here in Beirut, but all over the country. And of course, once more, focus being in those areas that are not so well. That
the rural ones.
The rural
Yes.
areas.
Yes.
And of course, my embassy is very active. We travel a lot. Of course, we go and monitor our projects. So we have quite a good knowledge what is going on in this country.
I would add, and I would say, if you allow me, that you are a very dynamic and energetic ambassador, and you believe in the mission that you are doing.
Thank you so much. I mean, it is a dream posting for me to be here in Lebanon. Maybe you know.
Though you were before as a tourist, I know this.
You know that I have been coming to Lebanon since 30 years. First time I came in '92
as a tourist.
As a tourist with
Exactly.
my backpack, and at that time, of course, the civil war has just ended. Beirut was in ruins, so it was very, 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 very different than nowadays. I came as a solo female, a traveler, and I fall in love.
So you had this small call in your heart that there is an emergency call to help.
I fall in love with
Yes.
with this country, and since '92, I have been back every single year, at least for a couple of weeks, to spend my holidays here, to see my friends. I have a lot of local Lebanese friends. So it is really, as my friends are kind of saying, that Madame, she is half Lebanese herself.
Amazing, amazing. What are some key aspects and important role of the Embassy of Finland besides all the other activities that you have mentioned in Lebanon? Tell us more.
I mean, of course, it is very important for us to follow what is going on when we speak about politics and economical situation.
Yes.
We kind of, this is a very, how could I say, unstable region. And of course, the Finnish authorities, they need to know what is going on here because, of course...
Reporting, exactly.
Reporting, and of course, if there are conflicts in this region, of course, there is also immediately there is an influence to Europe. So, of course, we are following very closely what is going on when it comes to Lebanese politics. Of course, now there is a stalemate since October, but I have to say that so very many things are going on in this country, even though there is no government, even though there is no president.
Sure, definitely. Tell us more about the ambassador Anne. You have started your career as a journalist?
I was,
before?
Yes, my dream when I was a student, of course, my dream was to become a journalist.
Yes.
And I became a journalist, and I became a political journalist. And that was, of course, my dream job. I also worked 2 years as Finnish correspondent in Brussels when Finland was negotiating with the European Union from '92 to '94. But then at the time, I kind of felt that I have already been working almost 10 years as a journalist, that I could do something else. And I applied for Finnish Foreign Service, and I went in 96. So I started my career in the Finnish Foreign Service in 1996, and my first posting was in post-Ceausescu, Romania,
Yes.
from 97 to 2000. And after that, I went to our mission to the UN, and I was in charge of the Middle East. So I had to say that my sort of professional interest
A lot of
towards the Middle
responsibilities.
East
Yes.
dates from 2000.
Yes.
And of course, at that time, there was the first Intifada, there was the invasion of Iraq.
So you have this extensive pool of expertise and experience.
Middle East, definitely. I have always been interested when it comes to the Middle East.
Yes.
But I would like to kind of say that all conflict-ravaged countries have been very close to my heart. Because I have also served 4 years in Syria as the deputy head of the mission, and Kosovo, when Kosovo has just gained its independence.
Sure.
I was 2 years Finnish ambassador in Afghanistan, and my last position was the head of European Union civilian crisis.
Very
management
challenging
mission in
positions,
Baghdad.
dear ambassador. Very
Very
challenging
interesting,
ones
very
and
interesting positions at the same
exactly.
time.
It needs a lot of patience.
I have to say that you are right, and I'm a very impatient person. So especially when I was those 2 years in Afghanistan, that I learned a lot how to become a bit more patient. I want to see results.
So you were impatient, and then you started to learn.
I mean,
thanks
I
to
started
some
to learn-
countries,
I started
exactly.
to learn how to be patient because, for example, when it comes to development cooperation,
Yes.
I want to have results. But in a country like Afghanistan, it was very difficult
It
to
needs
achieve
time.
results. It needs
Yes.
time.
Yes.
And I would like to say that it is same here, it is same in Syria.
Definitely.
Kosovo was easier, maybe because it's smaller size.
Yes.
But yes, I have learned a little bit patience.
Since you have this political experience and perspective or view, to say the least, let us believe and let us say that Lebanon will rise again and stand tall like its cedar.
I mean, definitely, and as we were discussing, I have my experience of this beautiful Lebanon dates since 30 years, and I have seen ups and downs,
Yes.
ups and downs. And of course now we are maybe at the bottom, but the only way is to go up. And I'm sure that I mean, Lebanese people are so resilient. They have so much knowledge. They are strong. So I'm sure that Lebanon will rise again, and I'm extremely proud that Finland can be part of that process.
Such speech, allow me to say, dear ambassador, it gives the Lebanese a lot of power and belief in themselves. Talking about Lebanon, where have you been as in your capacity as a tourist? What was the domestic tourism that you have done so far?
I have done almost everything. I mean, I have to say that coming from Finlanda, I love the beach, but of course also I love the mountains. I hike a lot, and let me just say that just 2 days ago I was in Sharre and Ehden.
Wow.
Hiking.
You've been in the heart of the nature.
Heart of the nature. I know Lebanon pretty well, and I'm also very curious about your beautiful country. And let's say so that even though I pretend that I know your country so well, there are so very many places that I haven't visited yet. And I'm sort of glad
those places are waiting for you.
Those places are waiting for me, and every time when you go somewhere, there is a new surprise. There are some new things that sort of wait to be covered,
to be explored and
discovered.
discovered.
Absolutely.
Dear ambassador, how do we say thank you in your language?
We say kiitos.
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 Kiitos for this very beautiful interview. And again and again, I wish we can meet to have more discussions and topics to discover about Finland, your activities here in Lebanon, the United Nations women or female peacekeepers and male peacekeepers. Best of luck.
شكرا جزيلا جويل, and of course I thank you for your interest vis-à-vis Finland, and for sure we will continue our discussions.
Thank you.
شكرا.